I want to talk about Escape from Tarkov. I want to talk about Battlestate games. I went on a rant last night, and I was frustrated. I was angry, disappointed. And with all that being said, I thought about it, and I wanted to do a video, and I thought at the end of the day, it would probably be better if I swung back around and actually did a legitimate video. Like, I actually took the time, I made some notes, I got my thoughts kind of like all processed and all put together here, and I'm gonna just spit them all out in a stream of consciousness. And we're gonna talk about this. Because to me, the whole situation with Tarkov is troubling, and it's also kind of systematic of the situation that we have in the game industry as a whole right now. And on top of that, I feel really strongly about this game, particularly due to the fact that in the last 4 or 5 years, I have predominantly just streamed Tarkov. Now, I have done a little dabbling in other games now and again, but at the end of the day, my bread and butter has been Tarkov. My best memories in streaming has been with Tarkov. My best moments have been with Tarkov. So for me, I love this game. I've got over 4,000 hours into this game. I love this game. I love this game more than I've ever loved any other game before it. You know, I've never been as obsessed and consistently drawn back to a game like I have been with Tarkov. And you just don't find games like that. You know, they don't come around all that often. Most games are fun, they're entertaining, and then you put them aside and you probably maybe go back once or twice in your lifetime and maybe revisit them. But there aren't many games that you're going to dump 4,000, 5,000. There's players that have over 10,000 hours in this game. That's insane. That is loyalty and dedication that most game companies, nowadays, if most game companies get a couple hundred hours out of you, they're happy. If they get 1,000, they're like ecstatic. But you start getting 3, 4, 5, 10, 15,000 hours. That's unheard of. It doesn't happen. And BSG, Battlestate Games, we're just going to call them BSG going forward, they did that. They created that with this game. And it has been heartbreaking for me to see a game with so much potential become what it's become. And so I literally have like a page and a half of notes. And these are just my thoughts. I'm going to show you guys stuff. I'm gonna try to provide as much evidence as I can, because I don't like just throwing things out in the ether. So I might take a minute. We might look up stuff if I feel like we should, but I feel like a lot of this information I can say verbatim from the source. I can show you the source. I have some information already pulled up. I just haven't gotten it out yet. And we're gonna go through this, and then I'm gonna edit this, and then I'm gonna turn it into a video, because I think honestly, this is not just an admonishment on BSG and what they do to their player base and have been doing to their player base, but I think this is an expose on what's a larger issue at whole with the games industry, and why we have smaller studios doing so much better, and why small studios that have gotten bigger have continuously done worse and have made worse decisions, and big studios just outright can't seem to make a good decision. So let's just go over it. We're just going to start going through. I'm going to pull up the first thing here. That's just going to sit here for a while. This is the crux. This is the proverbial. If you want to know what the straw was that broke the camel of Tarkov fan base's back, this is it. There isn't too many times you can point literally at one thing and be like, this is the problem. This, not necessarily that this was the problem, probably not the best choice. This was the final straw. This was the one footstep too many. This was the one reach that was beyond the grasp. This is what caused the final issue that I think has kind of exposed a lot of problems that we have all been sort of, we'll talk about it as a community, we'll talk about it as streamers, we'll gloss over a lot of it. We won't make it as important as it should be. We won't take steps to force the developers. And I know that sounds weird. But I will explain it. But we're not taking the steps to force the developers to push the game in the right direction. And I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds very entitled. That we as a fan base should push the development team in any direction. But I will explain that. And it will make sense, I hope. That it doesn't sound as entitled as I'm making it. I have a good reason for that. So I just want to start right at the beginning. This by itself, if this was the only issue that BSG and Tarkov has ever had, I would be on social media right now laughing and shooting down people that were trying to go nuts on BSG. Because I would be like, if this is the only thing that's ever happened bad was just this decision, it's not that big of a deal. So the reason why this decision is such an issue. Oh, Rose, thank you so much for likes. I appreciate that. The reason why this issue is why this edition is such an issue, it has to do with the fact that, as I said, it's a combination. It's been compounding, bad decision after bad decision, and it's caused this problem. So one of the things that I think is something that we've constantly dealt with in the community is I wanna get this clear. I just wanted to blow this picture up. You wanna know what the problem is? That's your problem. This guy right here, that's your problem. This is Nikita. He is pretty much the face and voice and the brains behind Tarkov. This is the guy who sort of runs the show, basically runs the show. And this is our problem. And I'm gonna point the finger straight away. This is our problem. And here's the thing about it is, Nikita has had a tremendous ability to consistently overpromise and underdeliver. I cannot count from wipe to wipe to wipe how many promises Nikita made us about what Tarkov was going to be, what features we were going to have, what we were going to have, and only for that wipe to come. And so many of those features either were cut, not completely developed, buggy, or pushed back. Few have actually made it to the release that it was supposed to be on. And fewer those that actually make it to the release actually work the way they intended. Now keep in mind, we actually have, first of all, we're already a beta game. So technically we're testing this game, but they actually already have test servers inside of a beta game. And these test servers do absolutely jack shit, because I can't count the number of patches that have come out that have been buggy, laggy, broken messes. How the fuck have you released these patches and you say you have dedicated test servers and there are super basic bugs that are literally affecting people within minutes of the patch's release, and somehow in your testing servers you never saw this? Either A, you're not listening to anybody who's actually on the test servers. B, nobody's even on the test servers because they think it's a waste of time. Or it's a combo platter of ignorance on both parts. But clearly those test servers are doing absolutely nothing. And now every time Nikita says, oh, this is going to be in the game, oh, this is going to be in the game, oh, this is going to be in the game, it would be the equivalent now at this point. If Nikita says, oh, the sky's blue, I'm going outside and looking for myself, because I don't believe him. Because he doesn't have any cachet at this point in the slightest to have any shown that he has any integrity of honesty. I don't believe in this man's integrity, to be really genuinely honest at this point. I don't believe he is. So you guys can't hear her because the mic's not picking it up, but my wife was just making a point of, I used to speak very highly of Nikita and I had a lot of respect for him, and that's true. I did used to speak very, very well about Nikita. I had absolutely a ton of respect for Nikita. This was in the early days where I was giving him every benefit of the doubt because he was the head of a project I really believed in. Anthony, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Obviously, my opinion, like anybody else's, changes with evidence. And Nikita has shown me that he's just not to be trusted. And I am absolutely of the mindset that, you know what? You're past given my trust, now you have to earn it. And I don't think that's possible, at least not with him. Let's talk about mismanagement. Let's talk about how they have mismanaged their money, how they have mismanaged their projects. Let's talk about Lighthouse. Let me see if I can. I want to see. There was. I want to see. There were some early maps there. And there's a reason why I want to find these. If I can find them, I might not be able to. They've already disappeared. I know Veritas had them at one point. I have not had a chance to look at it since then, but yeah, no. You know what, let's see if I can just find a picture. So this is kind of close to what I'm talking about. So this is kind of one of the stages of map design. Actually, this would be closer. So this is a stage, I believe they refer to it as light boxing. And this is an early stage of map design. So any of the maps that you play, for any of the games that you play, they've all gone through this stage at some point. And the reason why I want to show you this was so that you can understand the context. See, on the patch that Lighthouse was released, we were actually supposed to get streets. And Nikita, up until the podcast before the wipe, which was literally like a day or two, I think, before the wipe, Nikita came on and said, oh, hey, yeah, we're not going to get Lighthouse out. It's not happening. Sorry. But hey, we have a surprise. You're gonna get Lighthouse. You're not gonna get streets. You're gonna get Lighthouse. And it was actually I think now with the podcast it was about maybe a week or two actually before wipe, because there was some extra time. And they said you're gonna get Lighthouse instead of streets. And we're all kind of like, oh, all right, didn't know you were working on Lighthouse. So that's kind of cool. And the pictures that he showed looked very much like this. It actually showed the lighthouse, and it was very much like this, the grays and the whites and the walls. And he was saying how far ahead they were in Lighthouse, how much of the map was done, how they had been secretly working on it as a surprise. Now the thing about it is right after that podcast, Veritas went live, and Veritas brought up pictures of Lighthouse that Nikita had shared. And the one thing he pointed out was that the map that he was showing was light boxed, and it was that means it was early. It wasn't late. What that really means wasn't that they were working on Lighthouse the whole time. What that means is that Nikita overestimated what they could actually do, wasted a bunch of time and money to try to get streets ready, and when they realized it was not going to be ready in time for the patch, they panicked, dumped streets, because we got announcements about a week or so before the podcast that a bunch of the members of the streets design team had been moved to a different project. We just didn't know what that project was. Well, it was Lighthouse. And the only reason you're going to move a bunch of people from one project to another, like with a short turnaround time, is it's an emergency and you're desperately needing to get bodies on the project to get it done. So what that says to me is Nikita put a bunch of time and effort and money and resources into something that they were not capable of even releasing. Mind you, at this point, Nikita was still shooting for, I think, 40 PMCs on the map. He wanted the BTR. He wanted explodable walls, which we still don't have. He wanted the full Streets experience, but he had not updated the engine. They were still on the old engine. They had not touched any of the optimizations. You can't get most of the maps to run well with 12 people, and he wanted to go over double what they can do comfortably. I would even say uncomfortably in most cases. So while the rest of us with brains looked at everything Nikita said was going to be in Streets, we were all like, there's no fucking way. You can't even get Reserve to run well. How are you going to get this to work with a map 4 times bigger than anything else in the game? A ton of glass, a ton of rooms, a ton of buildings, a ton of scavs, 2 bosses, all their bodyguards, and the snipers, and 40 PMCs. Like, there wasn't any of us who believed that was possible, but we all thought we were going to get Streets. It was just going to be a much, much more watered down, realistic version of Streets. But we didn't even get that. We got a incomplete, unbalanced, clearly unfinished Lighthouse map, which had to wait until the midway point of the wipe to even get an update to actually balance the map. For those of us who remember early Lighthouse days prior to being able to actually go out to the Lighthouse, the loot was insane. It runneth over. The rogues were predictable and did not move from their chosen locations, so they were farmable all day long. We all did it. I mean, we abused that map simply because it wasn't completely finished being designed. It had so many holes in it, and that was because it was rushed to give us a map when they couldn't produce Streets. This is one example of what has been a continual history of BSG mismanaging this project, putting the emphasis in the wrong places at the wrong time when you aren't prepared to move in that direction yet. This Lighthouse could have been released on that wipe in a way better state, and you could have already been taking steps to work on the integration and upgrade of the new engine. Like, you could have spent a lot of time and energy in other areas or on other maps that you actually could have supported, but instead you wasted a ton of time and money. And how much money do you want to bet that were actually wasted with development of Streets that they couldn't continue to use anymore? You know? So keep these things in mind. By the way, guys, this is kind of like a whodunit, okay? So get out your pen and paper, because keep this in mind when we're at the end going, why are they making these really weird decisions about monetization now, after all these years, with a game that still is not in its final form? So mark that down. Potential clue there for you. Let's also, let's talk about what they've done recently. Let's talk about reclassifying DLC as a feature. Now, for those of you who, like me, bought the EOD version of the game, which was $140, okay? It was not cheap. That's a good chunk of change, okay? $140. We bought the EOD version, and part of the delight of the EOD version was that all downloadable content was ours. As a matter of fact, BSG themselves in 2017 clarified that statement with this little tweet right here. And I'm gonna get right in. I'm gonna get right in on it so you can see it. You do not need to buy anything at any stage. If you have EOD, you do not even pay for DLCs in the future. You are all in for it all coming. April 11th, 2017. So someone explain to me why we have this now at a $250 price tag if you're coming in the door. But let me log in and show you how much it's going to cost me as an EOD user. All right. Here we go. Now this is what it costs me. Yesterday that was $100. Today it's only $50. That's still $50 for me to get this stuff that, according to this, I should already have. How am I all in for it all coming if it costs me $50? I don't even care that they cut the price in half. That should be $0. I should not be paying for a damn thing. That's a problem. That's a big problem. Because here's what they're doing, right? Let's take a look at this. This has been one of the biggest sticking points of one of basically 2 or 3 of the big sticking points with this. This is number 1. Access to a PvE co-op mode with persistent progression, aka I just get to play against computers with my friends, no other PvP, no other players, just me and my buddies and the computer. And we get to treat it like normal Tarkov. We get progression, hideout, everything else. We've been wanting this forever and a day. That's DLC. I don't care what anybody says. That's DLC. Is this a game in of itself? No. Is this a mode of play that is being bolted on to an already existing game? Why, yes. Do I need to download this in order to possess it? Why, yes. Is this content? Well, yes. Well, guess what? That's DLC. That's downloadable content. That's DLC. Technically, all of this is. But this specifically, without a question of doubt, even if we don't go by the modern day concept of what DLC is and isn't, if we are going to separate the concept of what DLC is and what a feature of a certain edition is, I'm fine with that. Even with that distinction, that's still DLC. Now, it's going to be pointed out, oh, well, BSG said today that all of the EOD players get this. Why, yes, we do get this. We get this when the game goes live with this final version 1.0, which who knows how long that's going to be. Why should I have to wait until version 1.0 comes out for me to get something when I've been here for years? Why could a player brand new, has not put in a single hour, but decides to buy the best version of the game? Why can he drop $250 and walk in and just walk in and play straight away? But I, who put in $140 back when this game had nothing, back when this game was low on content, back when you couldn't do a whole lot but the same thing over and over and over again, Why is it now it's okay for me to wait? I'm gonna tell you that it's not okay for me to wait. I came here early, I put the money in, I showed my support, I gave 4,000 hours of my time occupying your servers. I shouldn't be waiting. This is stupid. Then we're going to come down to the other point. Let's take a look at this. Where is it? Oh, you know what? So it's not in this. So here's, one second. I want to find this here. Oh. I want to see if I can find this, guys. Yeah, so I'm trying to. It's essentially special stuff they're giving just to us EOD players, but it's not good. It's not good. So basically, the one thing that they're doing, and I really wish I could find this, because it's a server priority thing, which is. And I'm an EOD player, and I don't like this. I actually think it's really scummy. Oh, all right, here we go. Yes, perfect. I found it. Perfect. This is what I was looking for. Let me elucidate. So, this is the update. So after all of us have been complaining, they were like, "This is the update regarding your EOD edition." Cool. Let's find out what is this about. To honor the owners of the EOD version. Yeah, you know, the ones you pissed in the face of, right? And their indelible importance and role in the EFT universe. Again, didn't really feel that way a couple days ago, mate. So here are the following unique features. All right, so they gave us this, which is the same thing as what they got for the other edition. So, they increased personal trainer buying limits. So yeah, pay to win. Guess what, guys? I get 20% more ammo than you do now. Haha, go fuck yourself. Increased basic PMC karma. This isn't even in the game. There's not even any indication they're actually putting this in the game. So why should I give a rat's ass you're giving me increased karma for something that doesn't even exist? Access to a unique hideout craft. Yeah, that's DLC. You already said you were giving that to the other version. I should have had it. Increased basic charisma skill. Okay. I don't know what I don't know what you think is so great about that. I get maybe a minor adjustment to point value and buying stuff. That's really about it. A special quest line with increased pockets as a side reward. Okay, so this is funny. So the other version, this version gets the increased pockets right away. This one gives me a special quest that I have to complete in order for me to get those pockets. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind the idea of a quest, but I also think like maybe that quest should also be for the other version. Like maybe they shouldn't just get them. Like maybe they should have to do the quest too, because what was the point of making an entire quest line for one group of purchasers? That seems stupid. Unique dog tag, who cares? Unique armband, whatever. I mean, that's the same thing the other version has, so you're just giving us what you already gave them. Unique legacy device. I hate this. Exactly. What is this? This is nothing. Yeah, so as my wife was putting it, again, you guys can't pick her up on the mic, she's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, yeah, good question. No idea. It's nothing. Right, as of right now, it's nothing. It's a nondescript, non-existent item. So it's nothing. Here is the shit. Well, first of all, this is no longer true. We beat their ass so badly that they said they're just giving it to us now. I'll talk about why that's a problem in a second. But this is not okay. There is not one of us players that wants this. This also means, hey, for all you plebs out there, guess what? We're gonna get matched before you for 6 months. We get front of the line. And I kind of think I want to see. I thought these guys had it as well. That's not it. No, maybe they don't. So yeah. So for 6 months, we're gonna get priority. If we have EOD for 6 months. Now here's the kicker. One, it doesn't say when this starts. I mean, does this start when version 1.0 goes live? Does this start today? Does this start yesterday? Does this start tomorrow? When does this start? I don't know. So temporary access to PvE will be provided as soon as we reinforce. So that's also gone. So we don't get this. They are no longer now urgently trying to reinforce their server infrastructure to support us on the PvE version, because now they're just saying you're not getting PvE until the game goes 1.0. So they said this, couldn't even follow through with it. They're just like, fuck you, you can wait. I don't like this. There's a lot of other implications to this beyond the fact it's just scummy. First of all, it screws over every other player in the player base, which we're not okay with. You guys shouldn't be downgraded in your match times because an EOD person wants to go find a gold lion. That's stupid. We don't want that. The other issue with this is that if you're telling me, BSG, that you have the power that you can flip a switch and for one specific group of individuals, you can increase our priority match times. Has anyone here heard of streamer loot? Anyone here heard about the jokes we make about streamer loot? How it always seems like when you watch a streamer, they always get the best shit. They always find graphics cards. They always seem to find LEDXs. Sure, there's a couple of them that had to wait a million years. I mean, Gingy found what? How many red key cards has Gingy found? Now, how many of you Tarkov players out there right now, how many of you guys have found a red key card? I haven't found one. I've been playing for 5 years. Gingy is what, found 3 or 4 of them? My point is, if you can do this, then yes, you can absolutely increase a statistic, which there is one in the game, that will give streamers or specific people or specific groups better loot, better raids. So perhaps all those jokes for years now about streamer loot and streamer servers and streamer privilege, maybe that really isn't too far off. Maybe that's actually true. And maybe by doing this, BSG kind of exposed themselves to the level of control that they actually do have. And they can do things that they kind of told us that they couldn't. And now it kind of seems like they can. And probably have. Keep in mind, Nikita is an amazing, amazing marketing person. He's extremely good marketing. Think about it from a standpoint, you may sit there and ask, what would the point of that be? What would be the advantage to give streamers better loot? What would that do? Well, that's good advertising. Gator, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. What does that do? Well, if you have a game that has an audience on Twitch of thousands, and all of those thousands of people, some of which may not be players yet, some of which may only have your base game and haven't upgraded yet. And if they sit there and they watch guys like Lupo, like Summit 1G, like Gino, like Victoria Ryan, like Pestily, like Toast, like Landmark, and they watch these guys and they're getting crazy loot, and their streams are nuts, and the arrays are nuts, and they're making money hand over fist. You've got streamers out there who ranked up like 1 billion fucking rubles. Well, that's exciting. That's fun. If I'm a viewer, and I was once, I was like, man, that looks like fun. That looks super cool. How do you think I got brought into this game? I got brought into this game because I sat there and watched Lupo during a drops event go out of his mind, and I was like, dude, this looks like fun as shit. And I bought it that day. I bought the base game that day. I was playing within an hour of watching Lupo, and no sooner had we gotten into the pandemic than I coughed up to $140 to buy a second account. I didn't even upgrade my base account. I wanted 2 accounts. So when I tell you, yeah, this is shit. Not a good situation. Let's keep going down the list, shall we? All right, lack of communication. Well, I mean, we just said it 100 million times over. BSG, they don't give us patch notes until after the patch is dropped. They keep trying to pull this whole, oh, we want you to be surprised. Hey, you want to surprise us? Release a patch where everything works. I'll be surprised. I'll have a fucking heart attack. As a matter of fact, Nikita, you might kill me if you release a patch that actually works day one out the box. I will probably have a fucking heart attack. I don't want to be surprised, right? I want fun things. I want to enjoy myself. I want to have fun. That would be surprising. If I played Tarkov and actually had fun, that would be surprising. I want to enjoy myself. I want to have fun with this. I want the patch notes before the patch. I want to know what's coming. I want honest communication. Stop bullshitting us. If you fucked up, tell us you fucked up. We're going to be a lot more understanding than if you keep doubling down on the dumb. We don't like that. We're going to call you out on it. And then we're not going to forget it. Because this is the internet. And we love making fun of stupid people. We love beating them down. So don't be stupid. Don't double down. Don't do this crap. Don't do it. It's dumb. Because you start doing that. Oop, fuck, wrong button. There we go. Professionalism. The communication sucks. Has sucked for a while. And definitely is something they need to work on. Engine update. What the fuck happened to it? We got started. We didn't finish. Where's the optimizations that were supposed to come? Nothing. Have you guys gotten any optimizations in Tarkov? Has it run better for you? I mean, they had to put in literally a low res option for streets because that whole level runs like dog shit. So, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So where's the rest of it? You started the integration to the next engine, and it seems like you just stopped. So what's going on? Can we talk about the audio? This is the worst game for audio ever. You can hear people shoot in a completely underground bunker on the second floor of the building above it, and it sounds like it's right next to your head. A grenade can go off halfway across the map, but because of an audio bug, a piece of shrapnel will sound like it's flying by your head, like the subsonic crack of a bullet flying too close to you. There were sound bugs that were tipping off PMCs when other PMCs were nearby, and when Nikita was asked about this by Pestily in an interview, Nikita was like, "That's still a bug?" He doesn't even know what the fuck's going on in his own game anymore. He's got no clue what bugs are still there. How many status reports are sitting on Nikita's desk right now collecting dust because clearly he doesn't even know what's going on in his own damn game. He comes to these interviews, and unless he's had 48 hours to go to all of his departments and actually get information about what the hell's going on, if you catch fucking Nikita off the cuff, he has no idea what's going on in his game half the time. His most common answer is, "I don't know. I thought we fixed that. I'll go talk to somebody. Let me find out. Yeah, we're still doing that." Or, "No, we're not doing that." None of those answers are actually explanations because he doesn't know what's going on in his game anymore. It has grown so far beyond him that he's just coasting back now, counting the rubles. But I don't even feel like he's actively involved anymore because he certainly doesn't seem to have any idea what's going on. All I hear from Nikita now is rush to the finish line. He is ready to be done with this game. And it shows. It's showing big time. Sound is absolutely fucking atrocious. You guys, it's amazing. First you try to bring in Steam Audio. By the way, Steam Audio is amazing. It's an entire suite of different programs. If you want to hear the game that uses it the absolute best, play Hunt Showdown. Hunt Showdown uses that same audio system, and it is absolutely perfect. And I mean perfect. Hunt Showdown probably has the best audio of any game out there right now. Absolutely phenomenal. Tarkov was going to be using that same audio system. Guess what? Their game is so badly programmed and designed that trying to use the audio caused so much CPU usage that 90% of the machines that would try to run it would have crashed. Like literally, it was their game is such garbage spaghetti code at this point that it could not be integrated with Steam Audio. So they said, well, we have two modules, which we do. They don't really work the way they're supposed to, but they're better than nothing. Because when you turn them off, it's even worse. So they said, okay, well, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to build it from scratch. Mind you, they tried to build it from scratch before. That's why it's in such bad shape now. I mean, it's literally the equivalent of a blind person who said that they were going to have somebody paint their house and then decided halfway through, you know what, I think I'm just going to go ahead and paint the house instead and think it's somehow going to turn out better. That doesn't work that way. And then so after that, they said, oh, well, you know what, we're not going to build it ourselves. We're going to go through Oculus. We're going to have Oculus Audio. In case you're not aware, Oculus is virtual reality software, and the audio they predominantly work on is for virtual games. That's a completely different skill set in terms of audio than a desktop game. It is not the same. You're asking a company that traditionally doesn't work in this space to work completely outside their element with a game that statistically is almost seemingly nigh impossible to actually get the audio to work right on to begin with. You had Steam Audio, which is quite possibly the best available, and that couldn't do the job. So your brainchild plan was, well, instead of finding a way to get the best to work with us, we're going to go to somebody who's not even qualified or have any idea of how to get this to work in a desktop style game. So needless to say, the audio hasn't been fixed. It's still awful. And in a game where you most of the time can't trust your eyes and you desperately need your ears to hear enemies and know how much shit you're in, this game does the absolute worst job of that possible. And so it turns everything into an absolutely chaotic mess because you spend most of your time having to learn what sounds actually mean. You don't get the pleasure of just naturally hearing a sound and allowing yourself to process it in a normal way for you to identify what's going on around you. No, you have to listen to these absolutely jacked up, jacked off sounds, and then you have to somehow like translate that into what that actually means in the world around you. You know? Which is, we all want to do that, right? I mean, don't you want to spend most of your time trying to figure out, oh, how far away does that bullet, was that gunshot? Or how close are those footsteps actually? Or, geez, that grenade sounded like it was really close, but there's nobody around me. Yeah, it's awful. It's anxiety inducing. It's frustrating. It's particularly frustrating when you have a sound that sounds like it's 100 meters away from you, and then you turn the corner and the person who made the sound is literally at nose to nose, ready to blow your head off. And you would have been ready for that if the audio actually fucking did what it was supposed to. But it doesn't, and it hasn't in years, not
Mr.
months.
Galloway, we have a new follower.
Yo, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. So yeah, so this has been a problem. This is not for days, not for weeks, not for months, years. Now, we've had no decent audio and nothing in the horizon to fix it. Optimization. We kind of talked about that with the engine. No optimization. Continuously lack of optimization. Maps still run like garbage. Have still continued to run like garbage. Have not gotten better. Let's talk about this real quick here. Let's talk about, well, not this price tag. Let's talk about the other price tag. You know, the other price tag that has a 2 right there. $250 for a fucking beta. You're going to try to sell a new player in the door who's never played Tarkov, and you want to sell him a game for $250 that is not in its finished version, does not have working audio, has netcode issues, has cheater issues, has bugs, like game-breaking bugs, new bugs that come back up, old bugs that re-emerge, old cheats that come back, patches that break things that were fixed in the previous patch, and you want to charge $250 for that. Are you fucking out of your head? Tell me, in what world does that make sense? You have, I mean, seriously, this man, that must be the look of a man who just sat on the biggest set of nuts you've ever seen. If he's going to sit there and try to say that his game is worth $250. Like, look at his eyes. Look at this man's eyes. This man's man over here, that's a man who just saw a huge set of nuts that he just sat on. That's the look. Ridiculous. $250 for a buggy, broken game. I thought Ubisoft was trash. You guys are doing a great job of proving me wrong. So we talked a lot about that. The interview with the emissary. I don't even know what to say to this one. To understand it right now, I'm going to tell you what this is. Nikita, so Emmy, this is an interview that Nikita did with someone named Emmy. Now, we thought that was a person. It's not. It's an emissary. And emissaries are basically people who act as go-betweens between the community and BSG. And this was leaked to Trey24K from a Discord mod, an official EFT Discord mod. The mods are abandoning the Discord. The mods are so pissed off at what BSG is doing that they're literally abandoning the Discord. Left, right, and sideways. So there's about 4 of these pages. Let's go through them. This is what. So the question: make a statement, knowing that admitting that a mistake was hard. And Nikita is like, a mistake. This is not a mistake. This is the whole cluster bus with the whole new version and everything else. Why? It's time to start preparing for the release. Again, first thing right off the bat, he's absolutely focused on getting to the finish line at this point. I don't think he cares about anything else. He wants to get it finished. It's time to understand who are the true believers. This is absolutely insane. What the fuck does that even mean? I paid $140, twice the ESRP of a standard AAA video game. How am I not a true believer? I've got 4,000 hours and 140, technically almost $200 between the two versions of the game I have invested.
That sounds like a cult.
How is that not, like, what? And what does that even mean, to true believers? Sir, how, what? So what, if we don't buy into your bullshit practices, your deceptive business ideals, that we're not true believers? That's questionable. That's questionable. No one is forcing you to do anything. It is your choice just to bail it, don't buy it, etc. You're right, that's true. No one's forcing us to do anything. You should be forced to follow your promises, though. You should be forced to follow your own promises. It's totally understandable that the company wants to have more revenue. Wouldn't it be better to release a support pack while being honest with the community? We are being honest with the community. We're not forcing anybody. This is a non-answer. First of all, we've already told you as a community, we want to buy. There's a lot of stuff we buy. We will buy stat space. We will buy cosmetics up to yin yang. We've actually specifically told you what cosmetics we wanted, and we gave you quite the list. We have told you there are things that we are willing to spend money on. We have told you there are things we want to spend money on. We have told you we want to give you money. We did not want another version of the game. We did not want a bunch of stuff gate kept behind that version of the game. We certainly didn't want a $250 price tag and then a $100 upgrade fee, or now it's, sorry, $50 upgrade fee, because they got their ass so thoroughly kicked that they thought cutting it in half was somehow going to make things better. Newsflash, it didn't. I would ask if there is some kind of money issue for EFT. Should we be worried about fees? Everything is fine and going as planned. Wrong. Bullshit. You're lying. I guarantee he's lying. I guarantee there's money issues. As I've already pointed out, there has been literally years and years of mismanagement by EFT, by Nikita, by BSG. So you do not have the level of mismanagement that they have and not have money issues. You have wasted money left, right, and sideways. You have also, and allow me to put this point in, you wasted a shit ton of money with Arena. You wasted a shit ton of money with your bad decisions. You wasted a shit ton of money with all of the pomp and circumstance you put up around your events. You have wasted a shit ton of money. You did not have a viable revenue stream prior to all of these decisions. So you are now scrambling, making bad decision after bad decision to recoup your situation, because you are right now slowly sliding down the drain, and you know it. Everything is not fine. This is why Nikita is rushing to get the game finished. They are running out of money. The coffers are getting empty. Paychecks are probably not going to be paid soon. Doors may be closing. Power may be going out. They're in deep shit. This is not true. Do you plan on addressing the community again anytime soon? Your post on Reddit unfortunately wasn't received well by the majority of the community. They still feel like they are waiting for the right response. I don't like that wording, by the way. The right response makes us feel entitled. To us, the right response is honesty and realization that you made us a promise and you're trying to renege on that promise, not once but twice now. The right response is to do the right thing. Yeah. Oh, if you, by the way, just people in general, let me give you a word of advice. I don't care how small I am. If you come into my Twitch stream and you try to sell me a service, there's no conversation. I ban you. Okay, just so we're clear. I kind of don't fuck around with that shit. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the whole right response thing because it makes me feel very much like we're entitled. And to be entitled is to expect something that you are not owed. We are owed, by their own wording, what we're asking for. So the right response is the honest one. They wanting to be as they want and feel. Yeah, no, we want to be pissed because you lied to us. That's a pretty genuine, fair feeling. A comment from Nikita. Important part. We cannot give PvE to everyone. It is too expensive and technically hard right now. For those who will support, still get this option. This makes no fucking sense. To quote Veritas, if having PvE servers is too hard and too expensive, then what the fuck are you doing in this industry? This is your bread and butter. This is literally what you do. How the fuck can you not do this? You're telling me that it's somehow easier for you to support servers that have 12, 13 or more players and everything else, but supporting servers that have at max 5 players and the rest computers, that's too hard. Maybe you guys should be in a different business. Are there solutions being contemplated since the reception to the Reddit thread was not good? No. AKA go fuck yourself. That's all Nikita's saying right there. Is there any plan to back out or try to put water on the fire aside from the EOD features mentioned on Reddit? No, we are continuing to work hard on preparing updates for everyone. No more harsh changes. It is an important moment in the history of EFT, but I feel it is what needed, I believe. Okay, so let me go ahead and translate this for you. Yes, we will backpedal once they get angry enough, but we don't want to make any more harsh changes unless we can monetize it. This is an important moment because we're almost broke and we need to release this game in its full version. Let me go ahead and just go ahead and translate that out. With new, it's supposed to be new items that come with the Unheard Edition be only in PvE or PvP. Now, the new items, one of them is an ability that allows you to actually call players, your friends, into your raid. So you will activate this item in raid. It will send an alert message to every person on your friends list saying, I'm in danger, come help. And you can join their raid as it's going on. There is so much wrong with that, and it's so utterly broken. And here's the best part is this, it's people were like, well, if it's only on PvE servers, that's fine because it doesn't fuck with anybody. That's totally fine. But as Nikita says, they are on PvP and PvE. So guess what? So now if you happen to find yourself in a 1v3, well, hey, find a spot to hide, call your buddies in, and it turns into a 4v3 or a 5v3. Now, from a storyline, I'm actually reading the Tarkov books. I'm actually on my 3rd one right now. That's not too far from what could happen. I've seen it in the books where someone's kind of fucked and they radio in and say, someone help me. Sure, it is a thing. But let's just be honest. All of us can sit here and go, the potential for abuse is just astounding. Question. Can we get a bit more info on how this controversial feature will work, namely summoning teammates? Any limitations to prevent abuse? It's being worked on. Great. So you have no idea how it even works. You've sold it. You sold something you don't even know how it works. How are you charging $250 for something that you don't know how it even works? That's weird. That's really weird. Oh yeah, also there should be mentioning with those scavs not shooting at players with high karma, would those only be for PvE or are they still being worked on? Again, it's still being worked on. So what this means is that another advantage of this Unheard Edition is that if you have a scav rep of 6 or more, scavs will not shoot you if they are over 60 meters away. So basically any scav over 60 meters, which is pretty much every sniper scav, will not shoot at you anymore if you have a high scav rep. Even though it's your scav that actually gets the rep, your PMC is going to take the advantage. Pay to win, totally broken. Should not be. Page 2. So this is a hideout animals. I don't really care. It looks like they're gonna get a cat. Dogs are coming later. That's a softball question. I think it's stupid. The friend summon feature, will it be like an expansion? I think they meant to say feature. No, but it is going to be an attainable item. So what isn't to me very specifically mentioned is if this is an attainable item for everybody or just the people who have the edition. Because if it's just the people who have the edition, guess what? You're screwed. That means only people with this edition is going to get this available opportunity. You won't get it unless you put out the money. Why not let it only be for PvE? It's a cool mechanic for PvP too. I feel like that's Nikita's like 15-year-old I play COD answer. Like, I want to do it because it's cool. Not because it's good for the game, not because it's good design, not because it makes the game better. I just think it's cool. That's not how you make decisions. You think of an idea and you're like, that could be cool, but then you have to ultimately make a decision in terms of game design as a fucking professional about what's best for the game and the player base and what actually makes something fun and actually fits. If ultimately at the end of the day you abandon all of that and say, fuck it, I don't care, I want this because it's cool, you're making all the wrong decisions. Let's see. One of the most discussed subjects is the whole situation of removal of the DLC line from the EOD on the website. What? Perfect example. Again, Kita has no fucking idea what's going on in this company. On top of that, yes, they tried to remove the whole we get DLC with the EOD edition. They tried to actually wipe that off like it didn't, like the Wayback Machine wasn't a thing. Like everyone just literally went to the Wayback Machine and said, no, here's the line. And they went, oh, our bad. Would it be possible, since we're all under multiple NDA, to be more involved? And what I mean is by having more insight and communications, patch notes ahead of releases. This is what we're talking about, that communications piece. We'll think of something. No. I'm not even gonna read that one. I don't give a fuck. Who cares about the emissary armband? I don't. Nobody should. It's a meaningless drivel. That is, if you want your back padded for being involved in the game, it's real easy. Just reach back and do it yourself. I'm gonna be honest. I think being in PvP is a bad idea. It's gonna make RNT go through the roof, to be honest, or stream sniping. I don't think so. How? How the fuck do you not think so? You don't even know how it works yet. How are you going to tell me that you don't think it's going to do something negative before you even know how it works? We can always restrict it. How are you going to know how to do this? You have no idea what's going on with an entire item that you have sold. You are actively selling people a product that you don't even know how it works yet. I'll tell you what. Chat, how many of you guys want to go to Walmart tomorrow and buy my newest gadget? It's just going to be labeled gadget. It's going to be in a plain cellophane bag. Don't ask me what it does. I don't know how it works, but I want you to go buy it. Oh, and there's going to be an upgrade to my gadget. It's going to cost you 25 bucks. It'll be available in the following week. Don't ask me what that does either, but it somehow works with the other thing that I don't know how that works either. Does any of that make sense? You guys get that? Everyone got it? Are we clear? No, it's fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense, and that's exactly what Nikita's saying. He sold you something, he doesn't even know how the fuck it works. That's embarrassing. We ain't done. Talk about this bullshit. Omnicron container. Another softball question. This is another secure style container. The official stance on single player Tarkov, SPT, that Clean was streaming it without issues. Let them be for now. This is interesting. Nikita and BSG has had a KOS, kill on sight, for anybody playing single player Tarkov. You will get your account banned if they find out. If you stream it, you're definitely getting banned. You are likely going to get DMCA'd. They have issued DMCAs in the past. Now, the interesting thing is Clean is quite literally the godfather of Tarkov. Clean is the one who got everybody on Twitch into Tarkov to begin with. Everyone who plays Tarkov probably has Clean to think for it. Clean worked with BSG. I think he was their community manager. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he worked as a community manager for a short time. He really believed in the game. He pitched the game to a lot of his friends on Twitch, who also picked up the game, became Tarkov streamers. The game caught fire. The fact that Clean is now playing the single player standalone offline version, the modded version, and I watched it for about 5 hours yesterday, and it was legit. That's shocking, to say the least. That is not something you would have seen even a year ago, even 6 months ago. That's and as Clean said, it's his protest against what BSG is doing, and this is somebody who's worked with them in the past, probably knows them better than most, except for maybe Pestily. The fact that they're saying let them be for now, I don't like the for now. That sounds ominous. It sounds foreboding. It sounds like once we've released the version 1.0, we're going to be coming back after you guys again. My guess is that they don't mind single player Tarkov, guys, because at least we're keeping Tarkov's name on people's lips. Even if we're doing it by playing a standalone version, it's still their game, it's still their assets, it's still them. And so technically, even by playing the single player version of it, we're still keeping them relevant while they're trying to fix their fuck ups and finish this game. So I think he's happy with us playing single player because it keeps him relevant while they're doing the rest of their shit. We're actually doing them a service by doing this. Clean did them a service by keeping Tarkov relevant, because in most other situations, the canceling would have already well begun. Regarding the DLC line, when you check the prep order page, the season pass, whatever. Oh yes, the season pass line for EOD has been removed, but it can be found using an Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine. We didn't remove that. Yes, you did. As a matter of fact, you removed it in real time to literally what Landmark was saying. People were watching you do it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Stop fucking lying. Nikita, brother, I want to say things now that are so inappropriate and so just mean, because that's how kind of pissed I am at you right now. But brother, you're a fucking liar. I understand that PvE can't be given to everyone due to technical limitations. At the same time, EOD users feel they should have had this permanently, not temporarily. Remember, I told you their initial fix was 6 months of PvE service and then they would take it away. Since it's new and much desired content, and the promise for EOD is that players who get EOD wouldn't have to pay for additional content if they contributed for the most expensive, at the time, package they could. Any chance to reconsider making PvE future for EOD? I love this response. You want to know why I love this response? Because this response is Nikita later having to shove his full ass foot in his mouth. Did you read above? We will provide for at least 6 months. Well, now you're providing it full time because you double, triple, dog, down, dare, dummy. Fucked it up. You messed the whole thing up. And now you're giving out the whole thing. This, I agree with my wife, is a very narcissistic response. It's incredibly stupid. And I hope you're getting dumpstered everywhere. Still is ongoing. Is there a chance of lowering the price? Yes, it was. They cut it in half. If EOD owners do not get PvE, are there still in fact things planned that will go to EOC? DLC, for example. Of course, every DLC later will go with EOD. Now, hold on. You want to know what's really interesting about this? He just fucking admitted that everything he did was DLC. Look at the wording. Follow the wording, chat. Every DLC later. What do you mean later? Later than what? Later than this? This word turns his statement into projection. Every DLC later means he is admitting this is in fact DLC, and then basically he wants money now. Remember how I said they're fucking dead broke and they're desperate and they need that money now? This is why. Every DLC later will go with EOD. He's gatekeeping this because they need money. Will there be future editions like PvE that do not go to EOD but will go to the newest version? Not planned. No, of course not. Because guess what? Where is it? This version was never planned. EOD was it. EOD was the top tier. That was it. There was no other edition. This whole edition exists because BSG is likely broke right now or very near so. And they desperately need money to keep the float. This is why you have had microtransactions, an entire new version, and more microtransactions added within a few weeks of each other. You don't add that much monetization that fast if everything is okay. Clearly, everything is not okay. The ship is sinking, the coffers are emptying, and they're in panic mode. Will EOD continue to be the flagship of all versions of the game looking forward? Unheard is just another signature thing. EOD is still important. Unheard is not just another signature thing. If I was a brand new player and I spent $250 for the Unheard edition and I find out that the people who only spent $140 are considered more important than me, again, I would be pissed. If any players out there right now bought this, just so you know, apparently Nikita thinks we're still more important than you. Not really treating us like it, so I don't know who he's giving lip service to. It's either you or us, but it's one of us is getting bullshit. I don't care about that. This is just more of look at me, I'm a Sherpa, praise me, and I don't like that shit. You know what? If you did it, you did it. Great. Don't ask people to kiss your ass for it and give you a bunch of shit. You volunteered. Yeah, so basically all of this is saying is, and I'm not going to read it, but basically if you want to take the time here, but basically what this is saying is like, hey, all of these announcements have really pissed off the player base, and a lot of player base are thinking about stopping playing the live version and going to SPT, especially since SPT isn't broken, and currently the online PvE mode is broken pretty badly. Actually, it's got 5-10 minute queue times, it's got people being disconnected, and mind you, these are PvE only servers and they are struggle busing hard. Nikita's whole response to this big old long question, let him change side. Basically he's saying go ahead, go play that, I don't care. That's all he's saying. His whole response to, hey, players are leaving your live service game to go play an offline mod is, yeah, go ahead. So if any of you guys are having a hard time getting into raids or finding people, they change sides, that's why. And this is just more softball shit. Arena LAN esports, working on that. How about you not? How about you just not fucking, why don't you actually just work on your game? Arena was so stupid. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about Arena. Here's why Arena is stupid. When I said earlier that this is the second time, not the first time, that they've tried to recategorize something as not DLC to sell it to us. When Arena was first announced, we were told EOD users would get it. And then when Arena neared launch, Nikita said, well, we don't know actually if that's going to be DLC because it's kind of another game. And we all, like we did this time, we all pointed out to Nikita, no, you said we were getting Arena. You're the one who said it. We didn't say it. We didn't make you say it. You said it. You have to uphold your word, or we can sue you because we have a legal basis to. So he gave us Arena. Arena was a hot mess, unbalanced, broken, buggy, and pushed out. Well, geez, why was it broken, buggy, and pushed out? Besides the developers who don't seem to take enough time to actually do their game properly. Could it be because they're broke and they desperately need an influx of cash, and maybe that's why they pushed the game out, and maybe that's why they tried to push Arena onto EOD players and make us pay the $30 along with the rest of y'all just to get it? Jeez, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, I'm just a cartoon floating head. So yeah, so they tried to do that with Arena. They tried to do it with the PvE. They keep trying to tell us that things aren't DLC, they're features when they're DLC. Then they try to say, well, it's a feature and here's a price tag because they want us to pay for it. Because they're broke and they need money. Because at this point, they're desperate. And it's getting worse. The ship is sinking. Let's see here. Hey, so has anyone had to deal with a cheater in Tarkov? Maybe one or two. I'm gonna leave Nikita's face up here. My point of that is simple. The cheating situation in Tarkov has been absolute ass for years. Cheats that they fix come back. Vacuum cheats. That's a great one. Vacuum cheats. There's two methods. There's one that pulls the loot to your character, and there's another that takes your character, instantly teleports them to the loot so you can pick it up, and then teleports you back to where you started. Both of those have been wiped out. Both of those have come back from subsequent patches. So what was other BSG's great idea to combat cheaters is, hey, how about we nerf the loot? Why don't we take the fun away from the players, and we'll make the rooms have worse loot. We'll make sometimes the marked rooms that only have 10 use keys have next to nothing in them. How about we redistribute the loot using this dynamic loot system, but the dynamic loot system doesn't really work the way it's supposed to, because as many people pointed out, a number of the game's high value items spawned at a much lower regularity with the dynamic loot system, even though BSG confirmed that the overall total value of the loot was the same as it had been previously. Well, allow me to put to you, elucidate, there's a reason why that is. See, first of all, when the game takes into account the value of loot for a map, it's based off of the trader's values for that item, not the flea market value. So a graphics card, which on the flea market could sell for 1 million rubles, sells to the trader for, I believe, 140,000. Now, the game says I have 3 billion rubles worth of loot I have to spawn. And when I spawn this video card, well, that spawns for 140,000 rubles off of that 3 billion. I'm just using fake numbers. But there's a spawn rate, and a spawn rate for a video card is really low. But what's not low? Oh, well, look, there's this little tube of cream that sells for 10,000 rubles, and the spawn rate of that is really high. So if I spawn 14 tubes of this stuff around the map, that's equivalent to 1 video card. So when BSG looks at the total, he goes, no, the total's the same. Yeah, the total's the same. But the loot that's being actually distributed isn't the same, because you're having more lower value loot because it has a higher percentage of spawning on the tables than the high value loot does. So no, your dynamic loot system didn't actually distribute the loot appropriately. It broke it by making more lower tier loot take up more value of the total value of the loot for the map. I have looked at this numerous times. I have ran thousands, and from everything that I have experienced, the loot overall in the game has been severely diminished. Many items, like at one point in time, marked rooms used to have like thick items cases, not just docs cases, not just, you know, the medical, like it had medical case, it had everything. You could get everything. Makita and those guys pulled it out, saying, oh, well, we never intended for those to be in a marked room. The game just didn't arbitrarily decide on its own that it was going to make all of those high tier items available in marked room. You as a developer had to tell the game to put those items in there. So why would you put those items in there to begin with if you never intended for them to be in there to begin with? So again, you're lying. What you should have said was, we don't know how to stop the cheaters, so instead we're going to remove the loot to punish them, to make it less interesting for them. Well, it's not, because RMT has still been a huge problem. Cheating has still been a huge problem. And even though you've devalued the loot, all it has done is embolden the cheaters to use more cheats, more effective cheats, because they now have to travel farther and have chance encounters with more players, because they can't go to one location anymore and load up. They now have to go over the whole map and load up. But don't get it wrong, they're still loading up. Your BattlEye anti-cheat has done dick. It has not been effective. Your cheating still runs rampant. And I'm going to point out something that a lot of players and streamers have noticed. It seems like every time you have a major ban wave, the game suddenly goes on sale. That's really weird timing. Also, I'm just going to say in general, punishing your players for cheaters, reducing our experience and our fun as a means of combating cheating is actually a really seriously stupid way of doing it. And to be honest, you have nerfed the loot to the point where the game really has just become not fun, because you go into most places and you just find nothing, and it sucks. This is kind of a minor thing, but here's the thing. Why can I go on Arena and I can see all of the statistics for the bullets, but on the main game I can't? How does one have one ability and one doesn't have the other? Why don't you have any consistency between your games? Makes no sense. It's lazy. It's lazy programming, lazy dev. Let's talk about your customer service is shit. Let's talk about your false bans. People who have lost their EOD accounts, people who saw $140 get pissed down the drain, followed by customer service who one, we can't call you, you have no customer service number, and two, you guys never answer your emails. There are people who are gone 6-8 months, have not heard from you. They spent $140. They would like to have some customer service when they've been banned. I mean, at the end of the day, their offer is not good enough. It's late. It feels pressured, and it shouldn't feel that way. All right, I am back. All right, let's wrap this up. We're almost done. We're in the home stretch. Let's wrap it up. So, here's the thing. What they're offering is not enough, in my opinion. It's not good enough. This is what they're offering. I mean, this isn't even a thing anymore. This is stupid and should not be a thing. More importantly, I don't want to have every single time BSG releases an update, every single time they release more content, I don't want to have the community get into a fight with BSG explaining to them what the fuck DLC is. We shouldn't have to defend our purchase every single time. And so far, every single time they've released DLC, we've had to fight to get what is ours. That's bullshit. What really makes me mad about this is that at the end of the day, BSG was one of the good companies. They interacted with their players. They were personable. They were down front. They listened. They made a lot of really good changes. And yes, they made mistakes. Yes, they overpromised, but they would occasionally do some really good things, or they would make some really fun events, and they would do stuff that we would really enjoy. So it earned them some goodwill. But the problem is that the more as time went on, the listening stopped, the talking stopped, the listening to us and actively doing things we want you to do stopped. You started taking this game into a different direction. You punished us for cheaters. You've diminished our experience. You've turned a game that was once fun into something that is a grind and is less and less enjoyable. With each new patch, there's less to like about Tarkov. I am legitimately kind of heartbroken about that. I love this game. I genuinely do. There's nothing more I want right now than to shut this down, fire up Tarkov, and get into a raid. I want to play. I can't. I cannot support a company not on SPT, not on the main game. All right, editing future me coming at you here. So the end of the video there was just basically me, very dramatic fashion, uninstalling Tarkov. And then I woke up this morning to an update, which I think is probably going to be the final update on the situation. I think we'll see if there's maybe more. I don't really know. But so this is coming from Nikita. This is being shared on Valiant's Twitter page right now. It's basically from Nikita. Let me continue my feedback on the current situation. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm very sorry that fans and the game community in general are experiencing these feelings. Unfortunately, I somehow did not foresee the fact of such a reaction, and now I have drawn conclusions for my future decisions. Now I will briefly summarize the main points. Essentially, this is what they're going to do to fix the situation. About the PvE access, we've decided to open it up for all EOD owners for free, but we will do it in waves. So this is very similar to what they did with Arena. And as I said before, we don't have the server capacity right now. We will start this process as soon as possible. The interesting point that has been brought up by people like Veritas is that essentially you sold something that even without EOD players, you really weren't supporting. So you didn't have the infrastructure. Pirate Software, Thor over at Pirate Software, also made the same point that essentially you sold something that you technically did not actually have the means of supporting. And I do think what Thor said does kind of play in here a little bit, where he says the EU hates shit like this. They will come down hard on things like this when you sell things and you're not able to support them. And because technically BSG as a corporate entity is registered in the UK, they fall underneath the EU guidelines. So the big part of what could be getting them to do this about face, at least on this, has to do with the fact that EU has regulations against stuff like this. We have also decided that we are going to add mod support for PvE after the release of the game. This is really cool. I think this is fantastic that they're going to add mod support. I agree with what a couple other people says. BSG should be hiring the mods and getting them to work on the game. There was another game that did this. I can't remember who it was, but they actually hired the mods and said, now you work for us, make our game better. And they did, like, substantially. So maybe BSG needs to consider this. About the Unheard Edition, we will not remove it. We want to keep the option for those who want to support the game more. But we will balance items and perks in this edition, as well as provide more rewards for those who upgraded with the old price. So to me, this whole thing, I don't have a problem. This their game. If they want to have an Unheard Edition, that's completely within their right as a corporate entity to do that. It is their product. They have every right to package it and sell it however they choose at whatever price point they choose. Do I agree that it's worth $250? Absolutely not. So I think that's fine. There's a lot of ambiguity in this whole statement, which is It's just really concerning because, again, it just feels like a lot of stuff was thrown in without concept of how it was going to balance or affect the game. And now that they're having to fix their own mess up already, now they have to try to fix something that they didn't even know really how it worked to begin with, it feels like. So this seems like just a whole mess. New EOD perks will be balanced too. We will remove prioritized matching option to keep everyone in the same spot. We will add more unique stuff to highlight EOD version in general. We will provide the final list of the new EOD perks ASAP. Good, they got rid of the match prioritization. That was stupid. Nobody wanted that. It's actually kind of amazing how much at the end of the day the community didn't like stuff that put people above other people, and it wasn't those that were getting screwed over that were speaking out. The people that were getting the advantage were also speaking out just as loudly, being like, I don't want this. I want us as a community to be on the same playing field as much as possible. And I think that's awesome. That to me is probably the most positive takeaway, is that it felt like no matter what side of the fence they were on, the community was looking out for each other. So I thought that was really good. That, to me, if nothing else, we did kind of bond. So it's kind of nice to see us working together again, I have to admit. As far as this adding more unique stuff, provide a final list. I mean, don't get me wrong. To me, buying EOD, I wanted to buy it. I wanted to support the game. I wanted to give this company money because I wanted them to make a great game. I love the idea of just getting the DLCs. And Nikita, honestly, I think I can honestly speak for a lot of us when I say we don't want a bunch of tchotchke crap that sets us apart from everybody else. We just want what you said you were going to give us. That's it. That's all we want. We just want the DLCs. We just want what was promised. You don't have to go crazy and try to give us a bunch of gifts to be like, oh, I'm sorry, baby, take me back. Like, we love you anyways. Just keep your word. Keep your promises. This is like any good relationship. Don't come to me with diamond rings when you broke my heart. Just give me, like, legitimately, give me what I want. Give me what you promised. Keep your promise. Keep your word to me, and all good, So don't go crazy. It doesn't need to happen that way. We will continue working on patches, new content, events, and the game release itself, no matter what. Well, I mean, that's obvious. I don't. Again, DLC is just kind of not even put in there anymore. Like, it's probably going to be a bad word around BSG from now on. You will probably never hear them say DLC ever again. Content, I think at least it falls into that realm, so at least they're acknowledging that is still a priority. Thank you for your time, love, and hate, and thank you for your increased attention to the current situation. So that's where it is. It's not really a fix. It's kind of, we're kind of giving you what you want, but kind of on our timetable. We know we made you all fight for this. How does this change my opinion of the game? As of right now, it doesn't change it a whole lot. Will it be years before I play? I don't know about years, but at the very least, I probably won't pick Tarkov up until next wipe. I'm gonna probably wait out the rest of this wipe just playing something else, and then I want to see kind of what happens with next wipe and what they add and what they change, and I kind of want to see some of this rebalancing, and I kind of want to see what they do, and I want them to get the PvE servers set up and stable, because I am kind of interested in playing that. So yeah, so we're not back in Tarkov at least until next wipe, and and it's wait and see. If it looks good, I'll be back. If it looks bad, I won't. I guess it's just that simple. But yeah, I wanted to update this because, like I said, I recorded last night. I woke up to this morning, so I wanted to update all of y'all. Yeah, but that's it. We're done. We're out. That's it. If there's any more updates to the situation, I will probably throw something out there. But otherwise, this is pretty much nail in the coffin. We're out. We're done. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, follow, all that cool shit. Appreciate it. Thanks.